Greetings, friends. It's Seth again from the beautiful Grand Wailea here in stunning Maui, Hawaii. And we've got a super special guest for you. We are honored to be joined by Congressman Ed Case of the great state of Hawaii. Aloha, Congressman.
Aloha, and welcome to Maui. Welcome to my part of the world.
Yeah, it's been stunning, to say the least, and appreciate your hospitality, appreciate the hospitality of everyone here in Maui. It's been an honor, and it's just been a phenomenal experience for everyone here.
Well, you've had a long and good history of coming to visit us. First of all, we appreciate that here in Hawaii, and it's just been a great partnership with SMACNA as well for me personally. So it's an honor to join you.
And we're really grateful for your partnership, Congressman. You have been a steadfast ally, to say the least, on a lot of our critical issues. And I really want to start out with an issue that's near and dear to my heart. I'm a military brat, and my father actually was deployed over at Hickam long time ago in Schofield Barracks. Our members are so critical to military construction and supporting that infrastructure. What have you seen the value of our contractors as they bring to that infrastructure?
Well, let's just talk about our national defense in the big picture nowadays. We've got some major geopolitical challenges out there. We have people that in no way, shape, or form are trying to work on a world with us. They're trying to work against us. And we can only maintain our strength, our economic strength, our projection into the world, our role in the world with a very, very strong national defense, and that means deterrence. And deterrence means a lot of different things, but one thing deterrence certainly means is the infrastructure to be able to house, to train, to repair throughout our entire world, really. And here, you are at the center of the Indo-Pacific. Hawaii is the center of the Indo-Pacific. Hawaii is where we have all of our combatant commands. In my district, I have every single command for the Indo-Pacific. And this is where, these are the front lines, really, of our country's defense of ourselves and our allies and partners in the Indo-Pacific, especially from adversaries such as the People's Republic of China. And so the military construction, and I speak as a member of the Appropriations Committee. I'm in my 7th year on appropriations. My first 4 years were on the Military Construction Subcommittee, which had all of our MILCON, as we put it. And then the second was, 3 years now have been on HACD, our Defense Subcommittee, which has all of our non-MILCON defense spending. So I live and breathe this stuff every day. And here in Hawaii, just as an example, we're putting billions of dollars into Hawaii right now. We're putting billions into the largest project in the history of the Navy at Pearl Harbor, a brand new world-class dry dock and associated facilities. Every single one of the services is putting in heavy-duty MILCON just right here in Hawaii. And by the way, we're not just talking about Hawaii. We're talking about Guam. We're talking about forward position. We're talking about Okinawa. We're talking about, Japan. But here in Hawaii is a very good example because we don't just do this by ourselves. I mean, we don't have a, Department of Defense contractor arm. We do this through the private sector, and we do it through our great contractors. And so our contractors are responsible for the highest quality work, for bringing jobs in on time wherever possible, for supervising jobs, and for delivering a product that if it doesn't work, it's not just something that's going to hassle a family or something like that, which is bad enough. It's a matter of national defense. So we completely rely on our contractors for our national defense. And this is, of course, a symbiotic relationship. For our country, we have a strong national defense, and for our contractors, we have good, solid business.
And I'm glad you mentioned just the geopolitical ramifications of what we do. Like a lot of our members' work is commonly seen like residential areas and commercial, but it's incredible to know that we have such a role to play in national defense, especially as you mentioned, with the geopolitical rivalry going on with the People's Republic of China, and Pearl Harbor is such a critical staging area because I'm going to go back to that dry dock example. That's where a carrier or a guided missile destroyer can be brought in refit, instead of having to go all the way back to either Norfolk or San Francisco, they can remain forward deployed, refit, and return to active service quickly. So that's got to be absolutely critical in that aspect.
Yeah, and it's exciting, really, to have that scope of a project going on. This particular dry dock is focused very much on our next generation fast attack submarines. We have about 20 at Pearl Harbor right now, and we've got more deployed out in the Pacific. They will be able to take some of the larger ships, but this is all about the submarine force. And so we've got 7,000 great industrial employees that work at Pearl Harbor Naval Shipyard, world-class quality. And we've got world-class contractors that are doing this work. So here in Hawaii is a very good example from your membership's perspective of the range of activities that are going on in our industry. We've got an incredible amount in defense. We've got commercial projects going on. And yes, we do have large amounts of residential. And so this really demands a high level of expertise by your members, which they deliver on across a range of needs. So it's not just a matter of, building 1,000 residences or something like that. That's really important to us. But it is the commercial buildings, it's the industrial building, and it's the defense MILCON. That's really, really critical.
And that's the core of what we like to do. We definitely go out of our way to try to contribute to the community overall, and Hawaii is just a great aspect where we're kind of covering everything. I want to put your hat on as an appropriator, because we are obviously the recording today. We're in the middle of a government shutdown. Kind of, what do you see of the challenges and just kind of like the pain points that you see where we're at this particular point in the shutdown in late October?
Well, let's start with the biggest challenge, which is absolute political dysfunction in our country right now. Polarization, division, where we're really living in two parallel universes in a lot of ways, two camps. And either camp has a win it all, and if you don't win it all, you've lost attitude. And that's an impossible way to govern in the big picture. So if you take that attitude into a very divided country, you're going to get shutdowns, and you're going to be polarized, and you're going to have an appropriations process that is stymied, and you are going to have, in my case in Hawaii, 24,000 federal civilian employees who are not being paid today. One of the largest pro rata federal civilian presences in our country, mostly because of defense. 48,000 active duty service members in Hawaii who are not being paid. So there's real world consequences to this. As we speak, we are still talking past each other, even though the solution is not rocket science. This solution can come together in 1 to 2 days, and there are good, solid people that are working on it, myself included, through the problem solvers and other approaches that we use to try to bust through these kinds of walls. But you've got to have both sides that want to come to a conclusion, which is very easy once you decide to do it.
I started my career in this space working for a Republican member of Congress all the way back in 2006, so I've dated myself extremely. And it seems that we've lost a little bit of the way of there's more that we have in common than we have separate, and it's just that polarization. I'm glad you mentioned that, because it's about effective governance. I mean, it's about improving the lives of everybody around us, no matter their political leanings. And this, like you said, this kind of just loggerheads we've reached just kind of seems counterintuitive and almost counterproductive.
Absolutely. We've got major decisions to make in this country. We're eventually going to solve this particular shutdown, hopefully sooner than later, but that doesn't mean the other challenges aren't going to go away. We have challenges in economic prosperity. We have challenges in our relationships with other countries. You want to talk trade and tariffs, I'm fine talking that. That's a challenge. We have challenges in preserving Social Security. We have challenges in protecting our environment. These are all huge challenges in and of themselves, all of which are solvable, as long as we face the music together and get the decisions done. And that takes a functional government. That takes some critical mass inside of our government and our society, because it's not just our government, that believes that we're better off solving our problems rather than taking a 100% win or loss scenario and basically kicking them down the road, because that's just making them worse.
How should you think we should pivot on trade and tariff policy? Because there's differing kind of ideas of how to approach that. There's concept that maybe folks that we do need to maybe reshore certain areas, but then there's kind of the viewpoint of maybe that's not the pain point may not be worth the end game. Like, where do you stand on that?
Well, I mean, let's start with an overall concept. I generally believe our country and our world are better off with pretty free and pretty open trade. So I'm not a put up the barriers and the walls and slap tariffs on everybody kind of guy, for a lot of different reasons. I think that we have to have economic relationships around the world. I think that we have to try where we can to work with our friends and allies. I just think a exclusionary, isolationist policy, whether you want to talk about trade and tariffs or foreign policy in general, is not the right direction for our country, and it has never proved out to be the successful direction for our country. And so my approach is why should we question the successes of the last 3 generations in a post-war world where we tried to take down trade barriers, Republican and Democratic presidents? As we talk right now, our president is quite upset that President Reagan was quoted in Canada as saying that tariffs and protective trade barriers are not the way to go. And so I start with that premise. Now, there are situations where you want to have trade barriers and tariffs. They relate to national security. They relate to countries that pursue abusive trade practices where they essentially dump their products on the world market, subsidize products on the world market, and thereby undercut everybody else. So there are reasons to have trade and tariff answers to large national issues. But to slap them across the board cuts us off from the rest of the world, punishes our own friends and allies, back to the national security discussion, and it raises costs. And those costs right now are transmitting right through the entire supply chain, right through your members, right out to the predictability of your contracts, right through all manner of supply chain issues for you, creating uncertainty, which is bad for business, especially bad for construction, where you cannot predict the cost, where you cannot come up with a good solid bid, where you're thrown into a litigious world, really, which is not good for anybody. And so there is a consequence. Now, I guess one could ask, well, then why should we do it? And the administration believes that this will result in kind of a rejuvenation of industrial America with more jobs in America. And frankly, I doubt that. I really doubt that. It's going to take a lot more than that for industrial America to come back in any way, shape, or form. It can be done, but trade and tariffs is not the right way to go about it.
Sounds like a more nuanced approach is probably going to be the best way to address it.
Yeah, I mean, you can't. Well, like anything. I mean, here's my experience from being in government for a lot of years. Simple answers are often not so simple. So if you just say, well, it's easy, let's just do this, or let's just do that. I mean, sometimes you can. For example, on the government shutdown right now, yeah, all we really have to do is fix the Affordable Care Act premiums and open government. If we do that, and there's a majority of people in Congress that want to do that. Okay, that's pretty straightforward to do.
Well, I think those kind of common sense approaches, I think, are what we need more of. And I think kind of if we heed your guidance on that, I think we could really come to a more of a solutions-based concept of governance. Congressman, I want to say thank you for being a champion on our issues, and more of all, just thank you for being a friend to our industry, because we're just lucky to have someone of just your stature and just someone of your kind of just relevance in our camp. And we are grateful for all the work you've done for us.
Well, I'm grateful to SMACNA. I'm grateful for your partnership. I'm grateful to your members for being out there, for engaging in government. I think what's valuable about you is the very, very deliberate, very organized, very partnership-oriented approach that you take with me and my colleagues in both parties in Congress, because we are really only as good as the partnerships that we have with the people that we affect out there. And we want your success. Your success is important to our country, and as I already talked about, national defense, but well beyond that. So I personally appreciate the partnership and the support that's provided.
Glad to help where we can.
Yeah.
Right.
Now we taught you how to throw it down.
Yeah, let's
right?
throw that out. Let's throw that out.
You ready?
My first ever shaka. Everybody
Okay.
ready?
Okay.
All right, ready? Here we go.
All right.
All right.
Where are we going?
Right there.
Right there.